I have my cable organizers marked out on the leather. So the first thing I do that I just want to show you is that I cut the outlines where I'm eventually going to cut them out of the leather. I cut that with my swivel knife first, and what that helps me do is achieve a very nice clean outline, because the leather is fairly thin, so fooling around with edge bevelers is not really necessary in this case then, but this gives a nice neat edge. Okay, so that's how I do that. And then what I'll do, in this case, I'm just going to put a circle of the wood finish on here. So I'm marking out one circle there, and in this case I'm not going to cover the whole thing in wood. I am just going to do a wooden circle. So right there I've got that adjusted, so I'm going to draw another circle there. Okay, so that's where I will have the wood finish end. Now I am gonna cut both these with a swivel knife, because my eventual aim is that it will look as if there's a wooden disc sitting on the leather. Disc that's got a hole in the middle. Okay, so okay, there we go. So now doing the actual wood grain finish that I was asked about. Mine is very simplistic. It is not very complicated. It's really stylistic. There's people who do really nice, realistic wood grains. I do a simple one, but that anybody can do. So the first thing I do is, at random, I place a few spots where I just press the tip of the swivel knife in the leather, and you can have it at angles, you can have it straight, does not matter. You can make them long and or short, whatever fancy. Okay, so there we go. Then, and you can use the same swivel knife. I've got a wide tipped ceramic one here. Let me just quickly polish this one. Okay, so I'm going to use this one for this woodcut. So here we go, and I start at random, usually as far left as I can, because I'm going to cut and space myself towards the right. Now what I do is never straight lines, but I really don't try and get them absolutely parallel. So when I hit those previous marks I gave, I will circle around them, and here and there you'll see these lines go wider. And then if I have to fill in between two lines that are too wide, I do that. And I start and stop with these lines any way I want to. Sometimes I just start like in the middle. And then the next line would have to bend quite a bit to get around that. If things get too monotonous, start something right in the middle. That causes a bump there. Okay, so there we go. Got a bump, got a bump. And this thing wants to cause a bump like that. So you see, it's merely a case of letting your hand run. But I think you'll agree, it really makes for an extremely nice, quick background finish. Very effective wherever you use it. I mean, you can write with it, you can, in other words, fill up letters with it. You can do backgrounds with it. Because it's swivel knife cuts, it takes highlight stain or antique gel stain very well. And there it is. That is how easy it's done. Now in this case, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video, quickly bevel around the edges, and by that stage it should be dry enough for me to add a few color effects to that. Okay, so there we go. Let me pause this. So I've cut the wood grain in there, and I've added a stamp in the middle just for fun. And now I want to show you how I color the wood grain. Using a thin brush, I've got some water-based EcoFlow dye, and kind of that's what it looks like. It's a mixture of little bits that was left over in the bottom of other containers, so it's probably a mixture of kind of canyon tan and range tan. So what I do for the wood, I put some on the brush, and then I do follow some of the lines, and I allow the brush to get empty, if I can put it that way, so that some parts will be darker and some parts will be deliberately lighter. So, and I'm not super careful to follow exactly over the lines that I cut with the dye. Make sure as best I can I don't go over the edge. I always try to keep my brush moving in the direction of the wood grain. But I'm not very meticulous with that. As long as you're consistent with the direction of the movement that you follow, it will look fairly natural, and that's kind of what you're after. It needn't look too perfect. And what this particular pattern, this wood grain, also lends itself to very nicely is applying highlight stains on with those cuts. It really works nice, and it makes the cuts pop, so I might just do that as well. I want to turn it around so that I can see the edge from my perspective, what I'm doing. But you can see that I am not making any attempt whatsoever to keep the dye saturated in the leather so that it becomes even. Rather, I'm deliberately making sure that it is not even. Okay, and there it is. That's that. So I think I suppose I can do the highlight stain over that. Now, my choices here are, if I do it across everything, the highlighter will color this and that, as well as do the highlighting. If I resist this first, or even the wood, then the wood would not change that much color. Whichever part I resist would not change that much color, and the rest would. So I can either resist the whole thing, resist just the wood, or resist just the background. You will get different effects in each case. But I'm going to let this dry first, totally get it dry. So I'll probably do that resist part tomorrow evening. But I hope you learned something. I hope I can help. Thank you very much.